Good morning. It's Debbie here. I have had a request to do a video showing some tips and tricks on how to lift larger surface images. So images that have a base like this really cute air balloon that are just larger. So larger can be tricky to lift, just like a super fine image is tricky to lift. And honestly, the solutions are very similar. So let's go ahead and go through. I'm going to show you a few different options. For example, this guy is another option of a larger surface, the heart. What have we got over here? 308. This is a French plate, so you can see how large all these surfaces are. So I'm going to show you just a few little things that you can do to have success lifting those. The work surface area is probably the most important. You want to make sure you are working on a flat surface that is solid. I also like to make sure that I have one of our silicone mats or a silicone mat of some sort underneath your plates. It just helps to keep them in place. Also helps with cleanup, but keeping them in place is important too, so they don't shift around when you're scraping and lifting. So I've got one of my Little Miss blings, just a big bling that's shorter. I'm going to use that guy today, and I've got some polish around. So let's go ahead and we'll lift one, I'll show you, and then we're going to talk about polish as well. So I'm going to make sure my plate is clean. I always have to remember to go right to the basics, because some people don't clean their plates between uses. I always put my plates away clean, but it's not everybody's jam. So make sure it's clean, make sure it's dry. And now we're ready to add some polish. So I've got a polish here. What am I using? I'm using number 6. Yes, number 6. I'm going to make sure that it's well mixed. We tend to neglect mixing our polishes. It's really important that you mix your stamping polish to make sure that it's all well incorporated, because when it sits, it can separate a little bit and then it's not going to work properly. We also want to make sure it's not too thick. So when you see when I pull this guy out, it's straining a little bit when I lift it, but I think this will be okay. So let's give it a go. If it wasn't okay, if it was a little thicker, I would pull out my thinner and give it a few drops and give it a mix and try. So that's usually where I start. If I'm struggling lifting something, I will thin my polish a little bit. Even if it doesn't seem thick, I'll just thin it a tiny bit and go from there. So when I'm doing a larger surface image like this, I make sure that the whole thing is covered with polish. Don't necessarily do that with all images, but with a large one I do. Okay, now the next thing is scraping. I am going to hold my scraper not at a large angle like this. I'm going to reduce the angle and bring it almost parallel with the plate. And I'm going to scrape once and then immediately lightly roll over top to lift. So same thing with a super fine image. You're lightly rolling over top to pick up that image. Okay. So there's that air balloon, and that's on one of our newer plates. What is it? 354. The air balloon, I believe that was from last summer. Such a pretty plate. There's so many cute images on here, and kites, and the little village is adorable, and yeah, there's lots of cute stuff on here. So let's go down here, because it's got that village and it's got this image here and the village image here. So this is just supposed to be clouds, and this is the back for the village. So let's go ahead and lift that guy, and I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, let's lift this one that's right near the edge first. So I'm going to go the length. I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to go the length, because that way my stamper is going to stay on solid surface on either side. And again, reduce that angle, one swipe, and a super light roll to lift. And you pick up every little bit of that without any holes. Now, let's see if we can create holes on this one. Add a little bit more here. I'm not sure what that's going to do. It might have started curing up on us. So let's see what we do. what I want to do is scrape too hard. Okay, there's a scrape that's too hard. So can you see that? There's literally holes. Okay. So, not sure it's going to lift, but if you scrape too hard the first time, you can usually go back over lightly and fill it. Oh, and still lift it, apparently. I did not think that was going to lift because I've been talking so much, but I just went over it a couple more times because you've got polish on your scraper, usually, especially when you scrape hard. Then it all ends up on your scraper instead of staying back on your plate. So you can usually go back over top and give it a couple more little quick swipes and get it filled in so that there aren't voids. All right, so let's move to a different plate. And here I am, of course, making you watch me clean. There we go, get it out of the way. I'll clean that up later. Now this one, I want to bring out one of our older plates. As with any company on the planet, when we are developing, we are constantly trying to improve our products. So you'll notice that older plates had a tiny bit of bounce to them, some of them. Okay, whereas the new plates, there's no bounce at all. They are flat. You'll rarely see a bounce in our new plates. And that's just the way we punch them at the end, the way they're separated when we are manufacturing them. So we've improved that. But if you have an older plate, don't worry about it. That little bounce, all we're gonna do to fix that, and I'm just gonna give this a little clean first. Make sure that it's not got any debris or oils or anything on it. And I'm just using plate cleaner. So if you can't get a hold of our plate cleaner, if you take any good quality polish remover, you want to avoid the polish removers that have added oils. So anything that says it's good for your cuticles will probably be good for your cuticles, but it will not be good for stamping. Those added extra oils just make lifting a nightmare. So avoid those. But if you get a great quality stamping polish, or good grief, Debbie, a great quality polish remover, mix it half with acetone, and that'll give you a really great plate cleaner. So there you go. There's your trick for the day. All right, so let's do this great big one here. This is our cause plate. So if you want the ribbons. Now, when I come to scrape this one, a little bit of an extra step here. So I'm not gonna be able to have my stamper in my hand. So I've got it close at hand because I'm going to push down on my plate. And now I'm going to do my roll, or my scrape rather, at that extreme angle, and then quickly grab my stamper and get rolled over top of that to lift the whole thing up. Okay? So if you're not pushing down and doing all these little things, let's go again here, and I'll show you how you can end up with a big void. So if I just scrape without pushing it down, look at that. Great big emptiness in the center. So if I come back over top of it, at that angle, super light. Actually, I didn't even push my plate down with this one. I just did that super light scrape on the extreme angle, and I was able to fill it back in. So the angle of your scraper is really, really important. And also making sure these guys are flat, that is also important. I feel like I was lucky on that one. Just worked out with that particular image anyway. So let's grab a different polish, because that polish is working really beautifully. It's the perfect consistency. Let's see if we have one that maybe needs a bit of adjusting. This one looks pretty good too, actually. Let's do a little brown heart. Okay, and let's see if we can do this without pushing down. I can. And lightly over top, lift up that whole heart. I'm just cleaning off on my sticky pad over here. Whoops. I'm in kind of tight, so you can't see my whole working surface, but got the sticky pad going strong over here, cleaning up all my ginormous images that we're lifting. Okay, what else have we got? I pulled also that French plate because these images are really large. Let's do the largest of them all. This guy down in the corner. That's an ombre tray is what I kind of refer to it as. So let's do an ombre. Ombre. Lovely French word. Okay, so I'm just going to put my polish to the one side. Now I'm going to stay not up high at an angle like this. I'm going to go nice and even almost to the plate, almost parallel. And I'm going to scrape a few times, get those to mix. And then nice and light. So light when you're rolling over top. Barely, you're not pushing down at all. I want you to picture it when you do it that you are just rolling over top. Okay, there's no pushing. I wish I could touch. What I usually do when I'm teaching a class is I come around to every single person that's in the class and I grab the top of their hand and I roll my stamper over top and show them. It's not this, it's not this, it's this. Barely touch it, okay? Anyone that's taken it in my classes, you know what I'm talking about. And I usually get these surprised looks and, oh, that really is light. Wow, okay. And boom, off they go, stamping like crazy. So give it a try, please. I know it feels weird and I know there's so many things that you're trying to think of all at the same time. Make that one of your focuses, okay? So that you can easily pick these things up and kind of take a little bit of that frustration out of your experience. It's just technique, I promise. All right, so we did that guy. Clean, clean, clean. There's always polish everywhere. I'm usually covered in it. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do this great big one here in the center. And let's do it in a pink, and then which one do I want to wear? I'm going to put one on myself. I don't know, I like them all. Let's do this one, it's big. Pick the biggest one. Just because, why not? Okay, so this one, because of the size of it, I'm gonna go this way, just wanting to keep a part of my scraper on a solid surface. You could scrape this way. I never scrape that way. So I always find a way to do it with my short end. Okay, look, I removed the center. So now I'm gonna flatten out a little bit more and lighten up my touch. I don't know if that's gonna work. Nope. I'm gonna have to do that guy again because I lightened up the touch too much. So now I don't have the details here. I've got this big swoop that we don't want. So let's do that guy again. Make sure it's down there at that detailed edge. Okay, so nice and flat. That wasn't light enough, so I'm gonna have to go a little bit lighter. Let's come from a different angle. So I'm just gonna change my direction. Okay, I think what's happening now is because I've used this polish so much, it now needs to be thinned. So this is another good lesson. As you're using the polish and opening the polish and putting it on your plate, doing all the things, it's evaporating. So let's fix it. Yeah, you can tell. Look how goopy it is around the edges here. Okay, so I've got my thinner, and this is out of stock at the moment, but we should have it back in stock within a week. So keep an eye. A mailer newsletter will go out. I lost count. 6-ish? I usually put in between 6 and 8, depending how much polish is in the bottle. If there's more polish in the bottle, you can put a little bit more, a couple more drops. You don't want to put in too much because it's easier to add more. If you over thin it, it's trickier. You gotta just leave it open and let it evaporate again, but that takes time. So just add a few drops to start with and see if it does the trick. If you go to lift again and it's not lifting, add a couple more. Okay, give it a little swirl here too. I always just roll it between my hands to get things mixed. Oh yeah. Completely different here now. Good. Okay, let's see if that does the trick. Well, it was this one, right? I think so. It's the biggest one. I remember saying, let's do this one because it's big. Okay, here we go. So hold your tongue to the left, nice and flat. Oh, this one's a fighter. I don't need to push it down. There we go. No. This is good. This is good. This is happening because it's funny. I always come on to do a video and show people and I think, oh goodness, like they probably think that I edit the heck out of these things and that I, struggle but don't show it, or don't struggle, or I have different plates, or I don't know, any of the things. But no, sometimes there's an image that just fights back. So let's see if we've thinned the polish, so we know it's not the polish. Let's grab a different polish and see if it works better. Sometimes you have to abandon a polish. Usually I find if I have to abandon a polish though, it's a metallic one that's fighting back like this. Okay. Oh, it was my direction. Oh, I don't know. That polish is pretty nice and smooth. Okay, so this one, let's put it right on my nail, so you can see how this plate works. It's kind of cool. Okay, give it a push. I don't know about the brown. Don't know that that's the direction I would have gone, but here we are. That's the one that was lifting, that was nice and close. Okay, so now along with this goes this really pretty swirly bit. Clean off my scraper here for a sec. I do want to try again with that pink. I'm annoyed I couldn't lift that pink. And I changed the direction, so maybe that was the whole thing. So we'll try the pink again here in a sec. But let's do this guy first. So nice and light, super light on the pickup. Now my jelly's split from working on tips here earlier, but nah, we can do better. See how it's just kind of meh. That is what an image looks like when there is plate cleaner left in that image when you put the polish on. That's what it looks like. Like just kind of, I don't know, puckered. So let's try that again because I want that to be nice and crisp. Make sure it's dry. Okay, what is this? This is number 51 I'm using. Oh, maybe this guy needs a little mix too. Okay. Try that again. I don't think it needs thinning. Okay. Scrape and immediately lift. There, that's a little sharper. You see the difference? It's a wee bit sharper. Still thin in one place, but let's see what's actually going to end up on my nail. So where does this fit? That would go there. So that goes right there. So I'm just going to take my time, shake it into place. Sorry if you can't see perfectly. It's a pretty detailed one. You can tell I looked away. It's one of those ones that you really have to roll with it. See what I mean? So the part of that loop fits in that little bump, and then the swoop here fits in that little bump. But it's so pretty. I love this plate. It's one of my favorites. Just so elegant. So another thing I should say too, while we're working on something that's covering so much of my nail, if you're working on top of gel polish and your plan now, or you're working on top of customers, and your plan now is to leave this and cover it with a gel top coat so that your customer or yourself is going to wear this for a couple of weeks, then what you want to do is I would come along and put on my gel top coat make sure you cap the edges a little, cure it, but then you're gonna come back and you're gonna file your edges a little bit. You're just gonna buff the edges a little bit and put on another coat of top coat, because you've covered so much of this nail with polish that will make sure that you don't chip. Okay, make sure that it's capped on that second coat, cure it well, you know, do your full minute if you're in an LED light, and make sure that it's well cured. And then that guy should stay in place the whole entire time your customer or yourself is wearing that mani. Okay, let's try that pink again. I'm gonna conquer this pink. So I don't know, you might want to bow out now, stick around for the carnage. I don't know, totally up to you. Please stick around for the carnage. I need to redeem myself with the pink. All right. We'll see if I can even remember what I did differently. I don't even know that I did anything majorly differently. Might have been the luck of the polish, we'll see. Okay. Let's see this stuff. Yeah, I think it's a pretty nice consistency at the moment, so it should do the trick. So we'll get it in here. And then this way I think I came. It's the direction this time. So I came from the left, straight across, nice and low, nice and flat, and it's picking up. So let's put it right here. Decide how high up you want to come. And there we go. Okay, let's do the gold. Let's do the gold. Make sure there's nothing in there. Let's clean this guy off too. This guy's looking a little thick. I think we'll be okay though. And then I'm gonna scrape the other way. A nice light roll. Yeah, I think that guy needs to be thinned, because there definitely was no plate cleaner in there, and it's a bit of a funny lift. Okay, so where are our swoops here with this guy this time? There. And there. Okay, so I'm gonna head for right here. Shaking like a leaf. I'm gonna head for right there, and it's gonna go with that part right there. Now, if I don't get at it and stop talking, it may not transfer, but I think we should be okay. Okay, got that guy in the right spot, and I'm just gonna commit to it and push down. Oh, look how pretty. Oh, and it's really pretty with the flowers, actually. That works. Yeah, I like the pink better than the brown. The brown looks kind of cool too. I just don't know about the brown over top of this color. It'd be cool with something else, but. All right, there you go. So there's Deb's tips and tricks for the moment for lifting up the big images. And like I say, if you apply the basic same techniques to your fine images, I think you'll find you have loads of success. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking the questions. Really appreciate that. And we try and get up the tips and tricks and let you know our little solutions anyway. And I love it actually when I struggle, so you can see that the struggle happens to all of us. It's not just when you're learning. There are times where stamping just needs a little extra patience. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.